Welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode number 177 of the Iron Coop Fights movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and hosted by SoundCloud. I'm Kia, your host. With me on the show today are my co-hosts Emerson.
Hey, what's going on?
And Everett.
Hey, what's up?
This week the team reviews Spider-Man 3, followed by movie, television, and video game news. If you have not seen the review of the week and would like to avoid spoilers, check the show notes for the timestamps so you can still hear our news sections. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now on to our review of the week. Peter Parker and MJ seem to finally be on the right track in their complicated relationship, but trouble looms for the superhero and his lover. Peter's Spider-Man suit turns black and takes control of him, not only giving Peter enhanced power, but also bringing out the dark side of his personality. Peter must overcome the suit's influence as two supervillains, Sandman and Venom, rise up to destroy him and all those he holds dear. I mean, it's like, that's like largely false. Like, the truest thing was that he has a complicated relationship with MJ.
Yeah.
And then besides that, it's like his dark side of his personality.
Yeah, it was more just like he was kind of being a little bit of a jerk sometimes.
Yeah.
And like his suit, the suit himself, or the suit itself is like, you know, taking control of him. And that there's only two villains. And like they don't even threaten Aunt May, so it's not all that he holds dear, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love but recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. Everett, you want to go first?
You know what? I will go first this week, actually. So I wrote like a mini speech for this because I have a lot of things. But all right, here we go.
Does it mention the narration?
No, I'm beyond that at this point. All right, so anyway, I'm going to give this movie a win. And basically what I wrote was, I've often said that the Spider-Man movies are the godfather of superhero movies because of this movie. Basically, like the first two were great and the third one sucks ass. That's like that's how that system works. I'm rescinding that statement.
Did you just give this a win?
Yeah, I gave this a win.
Okay.
I'm rescinding my previous statement about it being the godfather of superhero movies because this movie is nowhere near as horrible as I remember or I think that anyone really complains about. I think people like to jump on the bandwagon on giving this hate movie, and I'm guilty of that as well, before anyone mentions that. I had a really fun time watching it. Yes, there are some major balancing issues with the villains, but that's mainly because they try to fit 3 villain origin stories together in one movie on top of giving everybody else character development. Like, there's no problem with making them side characters, and also, like, emo Peter is very cringy, as we all know, but it was really funny, strangely enough, and I actually laughed a lot. That being said, I have a lot of notes for this movie and a lot of nitpicks that rivals the last Star Wars movie we watched, so I'm really actually excited to talk about this.
All right, we're back after some technical difficulties. Emerson, you were about to give your review.
Yeah, so it was really difficult for me to decide on giving this a loss or a draw. There are things I like about this. There are ideas, plot points that seem to be interesting, but they don't really seem to go anywhere. There are some really cool action scenes and some interesting character development moments, which I'll talk about. But on the negative side, I feel like the movie feels really disjointed and chaotic. There's a portion in the middle of the movie that just feels boring, laughable, and just really not fun for me to watch. And overall, especially, they seem to use a ton of CGI, but bad CGI, which is strange to me because in the last movie, the CGI was pretty good. And I don't know if it's a different type of fighting style or different types of scenes they're trying to make, but that also takes me out of it. So I'm going to settle on giving it a draw because there are aspects of this I like and that I think people would like, but at the same time, there are way too many issues that I have with it for me to give it a win.
Yeah, I have somewhat of the same rationale, which is I think that the movie might be a masterpiece. But the problem with it is the third act doesn't really match the part that I consider to be a masterpiece, and then also the third act just kind of sucks anyway. Even besides that, and yeah, as far as CGI, Emerson, I think the problem is that there's just more of it, whereas like there's still good CGI, you just don't notice.
Right.
And there's just so much of it because this is a huge movie when you really think about it. So yeah, I'm torn between giving it a win or a loss. So I have to give it a draw because I'm like, did it achieve what it was trying to achieve? I don't think so. But did it fail? I also don't think so. So I think this is like one of the most confusing ones. Also, Everett, what you said about it being The Godfather, this could arguably be the best superhero trilogy ever made.
Really?
Okay, so what competes with it is
Captain America,
which
X-Men.
a lot of people wouldn't count Captain America because Civil War is essentially Avengers. I mean, technically, I think it counts, but but if you don't count it, the other thing you could count is maybe Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, but
2 sucks, but I mean there's always like a weak one in all of them, so it's like which one is the weakest of the weak? I would say Ultron sucks more than this movie. Maybe not.
I don't know. I think this and Ultron are pretty on par for me.
Well, Ultron didn't make me laugh as hard as I did when I was watching this movie.
This is definitely better from like a creative standpoint. Yeah, it's got
But
like
in
more
terms
stuff.
of like the movie itself, to me, they're relatively similar.
I just think that it hits a lot of the notes that I liked about the first two, just not as well. So it's it's really hard to say it's a good movie compared to what it could have been. I don't know. It's complicated, but let's go into spoilers now.
All right.
And our timestamps are all fucked because of that. So I have no timestamps this time around. Anyway. All right, so we're in spoilers.
Can I make a side note real quick?
Yeah, didn't you say you have like a big speech to give?
That was my big speech when I gave my review. I had it written out just so I didn't stumble. But my side note is, while I was looking around at this movie, I noticed Rosemary Harris is still alive. And that's crazy to me for some reason.
Well, that's ridiculous. That shouldn't be allowed.
She's 93. That's nuts.
How dare she?
Sometimes it takes me a couple seconds to register what just was said. And then, like, the fact that Everett's just like, yep. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't understand. Is COVID even real if Rosemary Harris hasn't got it?
Oh, God.
Isn't she supposed to be, like, the number one target? All right. One thing about Harry... I was like, did you notice that when we're talking full spoilers now, when he has amnesia, he starts dressing like he's in high school again? He's wearing like the same coat. He's like dressing like a 17-year-old.
I didn't remember exactly how far he got hit back because it's been a while since I watched this. So at first I was like, wait, does he think he's still with Mary Jane? Like, did he get sent back like a ways? But
that would have been funny if he like starts making out with her.
It was kind of weird. Like,
well, the movie tries to force that anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of hard to pinpoint where exactly he got sent back to because he remembered his dad died, but he didn't remember that Spider-Man supposedly killed him.
Like, the reason I think it's hard to pinpoint is because I don't even think the movie knows. Not really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hated that. Also, am I supposed to believe that he built that glider?
Yeah, and like, why would he build that when he has another one that obviously works? Did he really just want the snowboard?
Except that the auto drive function needs some work. it should slow down before it kills the guy.
Yeah, well, apparently, I'll get to this in a bit, but I have some complaints about that fucking butler.
Yeah, there are major complaints.
I like the butler. Okay, but all right.
Plot structure. about the
So
Butlers.
the symbiote arrives just randomly, like near Peter Parker.
So I guess I'm okay with that because it's like, all right, some things have to happen. Like, all right, for the movie to move forward.
But that's the first real sign of trouble, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I meant to say all this. I told you guys a second ago. I just chased my dogs all over town, and like I'm like sort of out of it. I meant to tell you guys what it was like when the movie came out. Any of you guys remember?
Not really.
I remember seeing this in theaters, and I remember crying in the theater, but I'll get to that later. But,
Was Lotso the bear? Did he make an appearance?
no. But you know what? Speaking of Lotso Bear, I'll bring that up later because I have a point to make about him.
Remember when someone made a soundboard where it was just Everett going, Lotso hugging bear scares the shit out of me.
He still does to this day. That fucking bear.
So, okay, Spider-Man 1 was a huge hit. Like, I still remember standing in line with my sister. Spider-Man 2, I strangely don't remember. I remember the video game, and I remember that the movie was amazing. I just don't really remember seeing it for the first time. Spider-Man 3, I specifically remember because as a kid, you know, the black suit Spider-Man, which is what we called it. We didn't know it was called the symbiote. But the black suit Spider-Man was like mythical status among me and my friends. Like, if I could compare it to anything, I would say it was like having a shiny Charizard card. If that means anything to you guys. Back when I was growing up, like in the Pokemon days, having that card, the shiny Charizard, was like the ultimate bragging rights. So the black suit Spider-Man was like on the same level of cool. And I remember like we all had the action figures, and it was like the animated series. I think I said this before, but if you want to watch more Spider-Man stuff, check out the animated series on Disney Plus. There's the episode of the symbiote. It's like a 3-part thing. That show's really good, actually, and it kind of informs my whole perception of what Spider-Man is. But it's also insane. But besides that. So the Black Suit Spider-Man was a huge deal. What I remember about this movie is I was like, oh, there's a Spider-Man 3? And like it was coming out in a week or something. And then I looked it up and it was the black suit. And I was like, what? They're making a black suit movie? And to be honest, I kind of didn't care. For some reason. I don't know. I loved number 2. I guess like I had aged a lot between Spider-Man 2 and 3. Which I don't. What year was Spider-Man 2? Was it 2004?
I don't know.
2004, I think.
I don't know. I guess yeah. Can we confirm? I want to know.
This was, I think, 2007. Yeah, this was 2007. And then
When was Spider-Man 2? 2004. Okay, so basically I was like a freshman in high school, and when this one came out, I was either at the end of my junior year or in my senior year. So that was like me pre-wrestling and me like at the end of wrestling as in high school. So like I was a completely different person. And I don't know. I don't remember any of my friends really talking about it. We went to go see it, and Topher Grace, he was that guy from that 70s show. And I just remember everyone being really down on it. Not like the prequels, how people were depressed about the prequels, but because I got to be honest with you, the movie, like, it arrived with such little hype around it. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But yeah, so anyway, so you're watching this movie and the symbiote arrives and you're into the symbiote, and it just sort of randomly appears on, I don't know, it just lands next to Peter. By the way, Everett, you're echoing a tiny bit.
I am here. I'll turn it down.
Anyway, I didn't like. I think it's the first sign of trouble, really, and it really tells you, because what they try to do in the script is they balance so much crap. There's so much in it, and it is pretty balanced. Like, not everyone gets a fair shake, but there's a lot of arcs in this, like a lot. And the fact that they kind of don't have time to explore the symbiote's arrival at all really tells you something. It's literally like, there it is. It's here. It's on him. That's it. And then the movie sits on that for like 30 minutes before it crawls out of his like bag or something, right?
Yeah, that was
like
one of the
appears
things
in
I
his
wanted to.
apartment.
Yeah, it's one of the things I wanted to mention. Like the symbiote gets introduced very quickly. I guess Sandman technically is introduced earlier, but it gets introduced very quickly, and then it like sits under his bed for a long time.
Yeah,
It
it
like
doesn't even
comes
make
out when
sense.
he falls. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can we go over how many arcs there actually are in this whole thing? There is
Yes.
Harry's amnesia plot. There is Harry's villain plot. There's Peter and MJ getting married. There's Peter and MJ breaking up.
There's MJ losing her job. There's Peter
Yeah.
like being challenged by Brock. There's Brock's arc. There's Sandman and his
Stacy.
family. Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy's father. The replacement of the murder of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Like,
Then
Jesus.
the whole black
all
suit
over the
thing
place.
taking over. Aunt May dealing with Ben Parker's, all that stuff. Yeah, there's so much going on. I'm sure we missed ones. So overall, it takes a very good writer to write this script. Like this script specifically could only be written by a good writer. The problem is, the weird part is, it's just not good, even though it was done by someone who can obviously balance a script. But then, so we switch to what's his name, the Sandman, and it's his backstory. You see that he clearly loves his daughter, but he's a criminal. Makes you wonder why he's doing what he's doing. I thought he was really heavy-handed. Like his dialogue is terrible. He's just like,
yeah.
I'm not a bad person. It's like, all right, why don't we
Yeah,
just
that's
throw
true.
out all the rules of like storytelling? Why don't you just tell us exactly who you are?
And you know what's sad about that is I actually think he was a pretty good villain in the sense of Peter fighting him. Because one of the things I liked about this movie is the brutality you can show against Sandman. Like, is
Cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking from an emotional side, he works because you can do the whole "you killed my uncle" thing, except this time Peter doesn't take revenge, and that is an arc worth exploring. To be honest, there's not much left for Peter once this happens.
Yeah, and can we also just
Yeah.
say how stupid the reveal that he, like, didn't actually kill Peter? Like, he's, like, holding the gun and the guy, like, pats him on the shoulder and he's like, oh, shit, and shoots
The fact that it was
Ben.
an accident. Yeah.
Yeah, like...
So you're saying the twist that they tell us that he actually killed him, and then it turns out that he kind of did, but not really.
I
Is that
don't
what you're
like that.
talking
I
about?
think
Yeah.
it would have been better get told, like, if you want to tell him he actually killed him, he should have actually killed him, and Peter just has to live with that. Like, and forgive him. Don't give him this way to weasel out where it's like, well, he didn't really do it.
So
Okay,
what, have him kill him and then just be regretful of it.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
that
he
what you're
can
saying?
regret it. Yeah, absolutely. He can just be like, yeah, I wish I hadn't, but I needed.
But see, the problem with that is like, so how does he be like regretful about his actions and then also be a supervillain?
Well, he only cares about his daughter, so he regrets doing it, and he is very sorry. But he's like, look, I need to save my daughter. I need money. I need everything. Also, like, if you're gonna get money, starting with robbing a fucking fight club that has like $3,000, probably not the best place to start. But I think it would have made more sense that way. Because what I don't like is, I don't know about you guys, but didn't it kind of feel like Whiplash when he suddenly, oh, actually, this guy didn't kill Ben, this guy did. That felt a little shoehorned, just a little bit to me.
Whiplash. How about our amazingly rated movie Thor Ragnarok, where it's like, by the way, Hela was here the whole time and she did these things.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So like it felt very much like, okay, you're just shoehorning it in. And then they just reverse it again with like, oh, actually he didn't really do this. And I don't know. Are you telling me I would have liked to see what Peter does if the guy had really done it? Like,
Yeah.
and I obviously don't want him to kill him.
Yeah, he'd have to confront. Yeah, there's no way he can kill him, like in a perfectly written script. But yeah, like have Peter actually confront that and let him go. The problem there is, as whatever touched on, is he supposed to be regretful, but then also have been a villain this entire time? Also, what is he doing? Like what is he doing this whole movie?
He's stealing money for like a bit to like I assume help his daughter. But like I don't know, he stole like several million the first time, so I don't know why he needs millions more, but whatever.
And like
then,
what is he going to do? Just give her a bunch of money and disappear?
I guess,
Is that
but
the plan?
The real question is why he all of a sudden decides to team up with Venom.
Yeah, he doesn't really even need to defeat Spider-Man to just keep stealing money. It's not like Spider-Man lives around every corner. Just rob anything.
Or he could
rob
just go to a
anything
different
anytime.
city, you know.
Yeah, you can literally go anywhere. And it's just unclear. Like, they never really say that money is the problem. You'd kind of assume that they're poor because he's not there to help them.
Well, also their house sucks and they're next to a train.
Well, I assume
But,
that's because he
like-
went to jail and like left them high and dry. Wherever it's
Yeah.
connecting. Anyway, so I wrote. Okay, so Peter and Harry
excited.
fight. I actually really like this fight.
This is where I start to see some of that bad CGI, though.
Yeah, because they're just flying around too much, and they're trying to show you camera angles of them like playing with the physics of flying through the air. Which, by the way, other movies really didn't do. I don't remember Amazing Spider-Man that much, but this movie does a lot with like things in the air, and that's hard to do. So I kind of give them a
It
pass
is hard
on
to
that.
do. But I would just like to point out, because I didn't remember a ton of this when I was rewatching it, I feel like, well, I don't mind the fight aside from the bad CGI. What I think is problematic is that... well, all right, we'll get into this after, but I think it forces the amnesia subplot, because otherwise the movie is over after, or a large portion of the movie is over after this fight.
Oh, no, it's very stupid. I said I like the fight itself, but there's some very stupid parts, like when they're talking while they're fighting, and Harry's like, "You killed my father," and Peter's like, "I told you that's not how it happened." And instead of him being like, "So how did it happen?" he goes, "Shut up!" And then,
Yeah, and he never told him it. Like he never really. Told
yeah,
him.
like it's so stupid. It's almost like a sitcom in one of these misunderstandings.
This is why. Okay, this is a good time to bring it up. Actually, this is why the butler fucking pisses me off. I don't mind the character, but the fact that he knew not only that the father was the goblin, but that the father got killed by himself, and didn't think to mention this at any point. He's like,
That's true.
Yeah.
Actually, I never thought about that. I never.
That's
thought.
fucking annoying.
Yeah. I mean, the butler, he probably was just like, "Hey, you never asked."
He's like, I was
guys
just
ever,
happy he had a drive.
Is that dude still alive? Did COVID get him too?
You guys ever watch the old episodes of How It Should Have Ended?
Yeah, some of them.
I mean, I
remember,
might have
like,
seen them when they weren't old, but yeah.
Yeah, like one of the very first ones was Spider-Man 3, and I remember one of the things they said was like it's Harry and his butler having a talk, and the butler tells him, he's like, "Could you at least have said that 30 minutes ago before my face got screwed up?"
That's funny. I like the ending of this fight, the way Peter catches him with the web and clotheslines him. I like that. And once again, it appears that Peter would have had to strip Harry's body and take him to the hospital. Right? He didn't bring
Yeah.
him in the glider clothing, so he once
I guess
again
that's
carried
true.
a naked person through the city.
Starting to sense a theme.
Yeah.
You guys ever like think about it? We only really see Harry suit up and use the tech twice in this movie, at the beginning and at the end. There's that like one half a scene in the very middle, but I don't count that because it's not really anything.
You're talking about when he fights him in his house?
No, when he goes to Mary Jane, he like holds her against the wall. He's like in his suit, but he's not like a goblin. He's
know-
only goblin twice in this movie.
So, okay, my dog threw up like while I was watching this. When did they capture Mary Jane and make her a hostage?
It was at the end. Like she's like going to work. She leaves her apartment. It's
yeah,
right
and
after
Topher Grace is in the cab. He's the cab driver.
Yeah, he like
And then he
grabs
like
her.
attacks her. Yeah.
Okay.
It was right after the scene where
What I don't remember, maybe
he
I
goes
missed
to
this.
Harry or something.
When the hell does Venom and Sandman decide to work together? Did I
There is a scene, yeah.
there
It's
is a
really
scene.
heavy-handed.
Okay, because I totally missed that somehow. I don't know if I got distracted or something yesterday, but I literally was I was like, what the fuck? They're working together? Why?
No,
I mean,
it's literally like, hey, let's work together. And he's like, okay.
I mean, if we're talking about
like
Venom
Everett wrote
already, if we're talking about Venom already, I guess I can bring up one of the main issues I have with him is the same issue that a lot of people have with him, which is why does he keep peeling his face back?
Because they wanted to show the actor's face, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I know, but
no,
Venom
it's terrible.
looks
Yeah,
much better.
There's plenty to say about that, but yeah, one thing that annoyed me for some reason was when they tell Police Commissioner Stacy that Flint Marko has escaped, they refer to him as the guy who did the Ben Parker homicide. So you're saying that Ben Parker is on such a high list of
Yeah, I know.
crimes that they know him as the Ben Parker homicide and just a
From,
random carjacking
4 years ago or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, there haven't been any other homicides since.
And then the guy's like, oh, what? That okay. Anyway, then this movie just jumps around. They chase him onto some sort of laboratory field, and then they just stand outside of the fence as he falls into a giant
when
hole.
he falls in, and the scientist is like, it's probably a bird. No one bothers to look out.
There's no cameras in that place.
What kind of laboratory would not be watching what they're doing?
Yeah, and if they're experimenting with molecular science, you'd think they'd want to look at what they're experimenting on, right? There's should be a window or something out there.
That's what I just said.
Cameras.
Yeah, I know, but
it's just.
But also, you can't do the experiment if there's a bird there. It contaminates the experiment. You'd have to make sure it's not there. You can't just assume it's going to fly away.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that whole sequence of him coming back in the sand form is a really great scene. Plus the music that keeps playing.
The music, I'll tell you,
amazing
it's the music, it's the animation, and then it's the fact that he chose to transform into the same clothes that they had in the description that they were chasing, which leads him to get immediately identified. Yeah.
Fucking moron. You could have changed his face. He could have looked different.
could have done anything.
He's made of sand now, but he's like, nah.
It's
I really like this shirt.
Green and white stripes. No way they could mistake him for anyone other than Flint Marko. Same haircut. Grow a beard or something.
I mean, even if he does get captured again, he's literally impossible to contain now, unless they put him in a box or something.
I mean, that sounds like a lease on a new life. Not I wouldn't anyway. But I was also gonna say I used to think the exact same thing Everett about that scene. But looking back now, you could tell that the grains of sand are way too thick because
they're like gravel chunks.
Because they couldn't probably handle finer. Nowadays, you could probably do that scene even better. But at that time, that was probably pushing the limit. But yeah, I do like the music, and it is a nice scene. How does the locket not get dematerialized?
Yeah,
Movie
even if it doesn't
magic.
get dematerialized, it's definitely lost.
I mean, the whole thing's
buried
pretty
in sand.
much nonsense, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
The whole sequence, everything about it, just doesn't make sense. Everything is just the wrong turn.
By the way, I think I was cut out when you guys were talking about the beginning of the
No, we
Harry
heard you.
Peter fight scene.
Okay.
Did you guys bring up the ring?
The ring, the wedding ring? No.
Yeah, the ring. The fact that he drops it. That was one thing that really annoyed me was the fact that I don't care if you have superpowers, that thing is gone. You are never finding it again ever.
Dropping the ring?
I'm confused. You were annoyed that he dropped it or found it?
Both. If you drop it, lose it. I'm annoyed that he found it.
No, I like that.
Or caught it.
I like that there's the same problem that Batman vs Superman had is you can't bring two people to fight. Okay, if you're going to bring two people to fight, one of them has to lose and has to lose hard. The way that you saw with Iron Man versus Captain America and Bucky, right? like Bucky gets his arm blown off, Iron Man gets fucked up. But when you look at Batman vs Superman, it's like we're gonna fight to the death, and then you got to come up with some stupid reason why they don't. Then you compare that to Civil War, where all the heroes are fighting, but there's like an objective. So you have this fight with Harry and Peter, but they don't want to kill either one of them. So then they need an objective. Like you need something that keeps Peter off of Harry, because otherwise it's like why wouldn't Peter like beat the shit out of him? And so like I think it's like a cool thing to like keep the play of the fight going. I liked it. I don't mind him. I like that it seems like he missed it and then it turns out he did catch it. I like that.
Okay, I guess that's true.
So Harry gets amnesia. I'll just say this, like if you ever write an amnesia plot into your story, just throw the draft away.
Yeah, I was gonna. Okay, it's actually horrible. I understand they're like, but the only reason they had to do this is because they forced the fight between Harry and Peter at the very beginning. That's like the only reason you really need this.
Well, I think if you want to do the amnesia thing, I don't know why you would, but if you want to do it, then you need a way for Peter or for Harry to get hit on the head.
Yeah, but like, what did the amnesia really add?
I think it added like some type of we're going to make them friends again so that he can later on become friends with him again.
It's literally a plot device to get Harry Osborn out of the movie for a little bit to focus on the other two.
What it feels like is that they're redoing the earlier movie, the Spider-Man 2. They're trying to redo that Harry hates Spider-Man / Peter
they are, yeah.
thing. Yeah. And like, I don't think hitting that beat again was good. And then very quickly they revert Harry and he's evil again and he's like fucking with him. I think it would have been more interesting to have Harry be evil the whole time and he's trying to get Mary Jane back as Peter's getting distant. Like, I was okay with that part when Harry started like fucking with Peter and like being friendly with Mary Jane. But yes, no?
Yeah,
I have a note on that.
I don't know. I don't know what to have done with Harry. Like making him a new goblin, because in some versions of the comics he does become a green goblin in some way. Like I think in the cartoon he's a hobgoblin. But I also think there was like another person that I don't remember now. Kind of want to go back and watch him again. I like that he becomes a villain. And I suppose if anyone was going to become another goblin, it should be him. And I also like at the end when he teams up with him. So it's kind of cool. Like if your plan was to create a partner for Harry, but then again, like I don't really want Harry like being out there beyond this film. So I guess you have to kill him off.
Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, so I think that's the play is like you make him his friend and you have to kill him off. But in order to make him his friend, you have to give them some type of arc. I don't know. And then I guess they probably thought like, hey, maybe we can help this like work into Peter and MJ's arc, like make him a part of that. It's not good, but anyway. So then there's this crane scene where they hit where Gwen Stacy's in peril. And I kind of like Eddie Brock's intro here. You know, if you don't know that he's going to be Venom, you're not offended quite yet. But like as a person, as a character, I like him. Where he's like, I'm dating your daughter. And then he's not even dating her. Like they had coffee or something. I thought that the action here was also really good. Did you guys think so?
Yeah, I would agree so.
Like when he's flying through the rubble, like he pulls himself through, and they do a really great job with like that type of timing and stuff. You just don't see that anymore in any of the new Spider-Man stuff. Like you guys know how like he like pulls himself between two like colliding bricks of concrete. I don't know.
Yep.
And like flips through another and does some cool stuff. What?
I forget if Andrew Garfield does anything like that. I don't think he does. But for Tom Holland, he's not really in the environments for that. Like,
I know. It's weird. It's bizarre.
Yeah, like you can't do that in the suburbs.
Yeah, like I wonder what that would look like. Modern filmmaking. Anyway, I like the scene. And so we get to see Eddie Brock for the first time. And they introduce some job competition. And I like that too. I like the idea of like Peter has to sell out in order to get the job that he wants. It's like classic Peter Parker dilemma. And that Eddie Brock will sell out, no problem. So it's like, if I don't sell out, the other guy's going to sell out and get the job. I like that. That's good writing. The Stan Lee cameo, what the hell was he talking about? That was a
Looks
terrible
like one
cameo.
person can make a difference.
Yeah, that was so strange. I was like, what the hell are you saying? Get out of here, old man. Like,
I really loved his cameo in Spider-Man 1, where it was like half a frame of him saving someone from falling, and then he was never brought up again. Didn't even have a line.
I thought that that MJ getting fired was brutal and actually a really great scene.
yeah, I liked that
Yeah.
scene. And I do like, that's one of the things I liked about this, the contrast of like, for Peter, everything's going great. He's on the up and up. He's Spider-Man, and MJ knows that. But then she's contrasting that with the fact that her life seems to be going backwards.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
She literally walks outside and expects that entire crowd to be cheering for her, and then when she figures out it's Spider-Man, gets like visibly jealous. I can't say that word. Like visually jealous of him, and it's like that for like the rest of their relationship.
The word you were looking for is visibly.
Visibly, thank you.
And well, but that's kind of suspect to me. She just walked out after getting fired and told it was garbage, and she thinks everyone's cheering for her.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
This is
There's a lot of problems in this movie, in my opinion.
The movie has a lot of great moments, like the firing scene. It also just doesn't make sense. Like, it kind of hinges on Peter. Okay, like the synopsis said, it's the dark side of his personality. Now, what this movie is doing is like Peter's pride is getting to his head, basically. That's not the dark side of a personality, though.
No, pride is like a sin, but it's not enough on its own to be bad.
And this is like the fundamental flaw with the movie, is it tries to show you like, look how far he's fallen, when in reality
But he hasn't fallen that far.
But also prior to the suit, because it kind of blames it on the suit. But prior to the suit, he's just being kind of a douchebag, but like a mild douchebag.
Yeah.
Like
he's the type
where?
of person you'd be like, yeah, that wasn't the play.
Like he kisses Gwen Stacy, he does the upside down kiss, and then he proposes to MJ that night. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
that's such
you
a
know what,
stupid
though?
move. Why would you do that?
But like, didn't she ask him that? Like, who was really kissing her, Spider-Man or Peter?
Why is he kissing her at all?
Honestly, like, I think that's a work thing. Like, that's not personal.
What?
Think about it. If Mary Jane,
Bro,
Mary
can you
Jane's
imagine
an
if a
actress-
cop like kissed you after like saving you from like the fireman takes you out of the house and like tries to give you a kiss?
Yeah, but
I'd be like, what the
he's
fuck are
getting
you
the key
doing?
to the city, and he saved the police commissioner's daughter.
What the fuck are you doing? Everett, let me ask you a question.
What I'm trying to say is, imagine like it's the flip. Like, she's an actress, right? If she had to kiss someone on stage because of a part,
That's because it's a play. He doesn't have to kiss people as his part, Everett.
Yeah. He
Like-
kind of pushes her to do it. Also, if he banged her with the mask on, would it count as work?
No, but Everett, I'm just asking. Let me put forth a scenario right now, Everett. You're dating a girl, okay, and she's like she's a firefighter. She saves a man and she kisses him. Is it part of the job?
there was no romance involved in it, though.
I see your point. I'm not saying that it's like cheating. I'm just saying, first of all,
No,
it's
I
a
think-
gray area. It's a very, very gray area. And then you don't do that on the day you're going to propose. Like, I literally just took our special moment. That was our private moment. Except for all the unconscious people that were like around them at the time. He's taking that special moment. He just copied it with another woman the same day that he's going to propose to her. As if that didn't happen. It's
And
just
I still don't
dumb.
think it's a work thing. I don't think Spider-Man is obligated to kiss anyone for any reason. Being a hero, like, why isn't Iron Man kissing every woman he saves?
Right.
Why
No,
isn't
so that in that sense the script does it right because he's playing it up, and like he definitely went too far. Like, the movie is trying to sell you on that he's going too far. But the problem is, like, what kind of idiot would do that when he didn't have to the day that he's going to propose? Like,
Well, the other problem is,
I'm going to
he's
kiss
going
another
too far.
woman publicly?
Yeah, but the other problem I would say is, he's going too far. I wouldn't call that his dark side. I'd say he's being a moron and, like
Right.
you said, a douchebag.
Right.
But he's not, like, evil now.
No, right. So, like, this is kind of the problem. Is like, he was kind of being a douche before the suit came. Then the suit comes and he's like extra douche. But all he's
still
doing
not
is like
evil.
he's just like gyrating his hips all the time.
And why does the suit make him, like, incredibly attractive? That's so cringy as he's, like, walking by and every woman is like, oh.
No. I think you got that wrong. I don't think that they like him at all. I think they hate him.
I hope so. To me, it looked like they were all looking at him like, wow.
They were laughing at him.
There's one scene where he's walking down the street and, like, two women look at him and, like, check him out. But then the next time he does it and he, like, notices it and, like, does the little finger guns at them, they look disgusting.
We'll get to that. But let's. So funny, but because I have arguments in favor of that. But so anyway, the point is, my point is, like, they're trying to show that he was on the wrong path. And I was like, okay, it's like kind of a mildly wrong path, but whatever. and then he gets the suit, and then he gets rid of the suit, and then it's like, oh, the suit has freed me from my error, my terrible ways. And it's like, but what about what you like, would you kiss Gwen Stacy right now? And also, what does that mean for any of it? Like, you don't have the suit, but the suit wasn't there at the beginning, so I don't understand what this means for his arc at all. I don't think he really has an arc other than get that suit away from me.
Now that I think about the whole kissing thing, do you remember, like, in the entire first part of the movie before that, he keeps saying, like, they love me, like, they love Spider-Man, I'm an icon and stuff like that.
That was like 2 seconds before the kiss. Yeah,
it's that. He's, like, talking about it with MJ, like, he's definitely getting caught up in the fame and not thinking, and I definitely see that.
Well, yeah, that works for the character. It doesn't work for the black suit part.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the black suit, like, they kind of try to show, like, he kills, quote unquote, he thinks he's killing Sandman. Right?
Here's what they maybe should have done. Someone else kills Aunt May. What about that?
Well, like, what do you mean? Like,
because they don't really use her. Because now he's off the deep end. And he's on a warpath.
And he's in the black suit.
Yeah, and I hate to do this because it's kind of cliche, but maybe you could tie it to the villain somehow. Like, not the villain kills her, but maybe the villain... Like, you can't use Sandman for this. Maybe you can. Maybe she's like collateral damage. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get into a big fight in the city, and everyone's like egging Spider-Man to go stop him, and he's like, yeah, they love me, I'm going. And then it turns out, like, Aunt May was like in a car that got crushed or something like that. I don't know. Jesus. Like, you have to see it.
It would make sense, like, if maybe Venom did it, like, as a revenge against Peter Parker, because he knows Spider-Man's Peter Parker. Maybe you could fit it in there.
Well, no, because you need it to happen.
To kill her.
Yeah, you need it to happen earlier, because then he wants to kill Sandman. Now he's like out of fucking control, is what's going on, and everyone would be like, "What happened to Spider-Man? Like, what's gone into him?" And no one would know because they don't know that it's Peter.
You know what would have been a good place for it? Do you remember when he first fights Sandman and the money truck goes slamming into that car right in front of it?
Okay, it doesn't have to be an actual car. I'm not saying he should have, like, done reshoots. I'm just saying, like, you could tie it to that, and then he goes crazy, like, I got to do something. Or, I mean, maybe you could have done, you could have killed MJ. Because they do introduce Gwen Stacy. They could have set her up like in a Spider-Man 4 type of scenario. I've also heard other people say, like, they should have set Eddie Brock up in this movie and then have him become Venom in the next one.
Have you read the plot of the next one? It was really weird.
Also, just side note. So Gwen Stacy, that was Bryce Dallas Howard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why do I fucking recognize her?
Yeah. Back then, yeah. She wasn't that famous then. So that's what I'm thinking is you need something that really makes him go insane. And then the suit like amplifies that, and then he realizes I got to get rid of this anger. I got to let go of it. I can't be full of revenge, and I can't wear the suit anymore because it's fucking nuts. The other thing is I think you almost have to do what they did with the Venom movie, which is I think he needs to like talk to Venom and sort of be convinced. Because like Peter Parker on his own. Though? Well, I mean, they did it in the other movie. It wasn't that.
Yeah, but would they do it like Venom's head comes out and talks to him, or just a voice?
Well, that's
I think the voice is better.
Could have had just like the split personality talking to each other through the same form.
It could have just been the voice. Yeah. The problem
I like
is
the voice.
I mean, he knows how to do the split personality thing. He did it with the Goblin, Raimi, but I think you need that to like show. I don't know. You need more time with the symbiote. You need to know more about it. As it stands right now, it's like half baked. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So then there's the armored car fight, and I think that the action here is pretty good too. I like the fighting inside the car. I like him like getting tossed around. They're not afraid to hurt him, to hurt Spider-Man. It's cool. What's with the sand residue?
Like, what do you mean?
How he leaves sand literally
How does
everywhere?
he leave sand? Yeah, like
yeah,
is he bringing extra sand with him, or is that his essence?
He leaves a toe here, a toe there.
Is he like taking his shit while he's fighting, just to make sure they have some sand in their pockets when he's gone?
Pocket sand.
Let me think. The other thing you need is, I think you need Spider-Man or Peter to feel like the cops can't help him, which is why my idea of like tying it to the villain, because it's like, why wouldn't you let the cops do their work? Why does Spider-Man have to?
Well, they can't stop Sandman.
Didn't they already do that? Didn't. Like he goes to see Stacy and he's like, "Calm down, like we're doing what we can." He's like, "You're not doing enough," and he gets like really mad at him. Like,
yeah, but that's not enough. That's, I don't know. That's yeah.
But the thing is, when it becomes Sandman and it's not just like a guy, there's no way the cops can deal with it.
But does Peter know that?
I don't know. He like figures it out eventually, but yeah, I mean that's unclear.
And then so then after all this time, the symbiote decides to just like come out to play.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's like, what about later when it immediately jumps onto Eddie?
Yeah. And also
Eddie
like the point of the
host.
symbiote, yes, he does. But the point of the symbiote, as Dr. Connors explains, it needs something else to survive. So, like, it just decided, and for about 5 days, I'm going to think about this.
Yeah.
And then now is the time.
Okay. Excuse me. So the Metro fight. He's got the black suit. I do like the way the suit looks. The only problem with it is it's a little too dark. It doesn't have the big white spider, which is fine, except that when it's like black on black at night.
Yeah, it kind of gets lost.
I do hope that in the next Spider-Man PS5 game, they have that as a suit option. Because I know they're going to do the symbiote.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So he jumps into the sewer, and then there's like a metro station or something. I love this fight scene. It's one of my favorite fight scenes.
Well, also, this is one of the things I really like about it. The brutality. He's punching through him. He's like grinding his face off.
Oh, yeah. So what he does is he initially hits him with like both of his legs. I guess you could call it a drop kick, but he's swinging. He knocks him down. Marco gets knocked down, and then he catches him. Like the fighting is choreographed with really cool pacing. I really like this because what you see nowadays is like everyone has like an ability, but it ultimately boils down to they just hit you hard.
Right.
Whereas here, this is hard to do. Like, Peter is swinging in, and then Sandman's leg extends and catches him before he gets there. Like, that is a lot. You don't see stuff like that very often. It's either like Scarlet Witch and she doesn't have to touch him at all, right? Or like they're just gonna hit you hard, or like some type of blast where they blast you, but they don't actually have to make contact. He kicks him away. They get into a fight, like you said. He grinds his face on the subway. I love that. It's so brutal.
That's what I'm saying. Sandman allows for this brutality that, like, what was this rated? PG-13?
Yeah, it's PG-13.
Probably, I don't know.
You couldn't have showed that if it wasn't Sandman. Imagine him doing that to, like...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you did it to
Doc
anyone
Ock.
else,
Yeah.
like, they get their face ripped off.
So then he pushes him on his palms, and Sandman's like regenerating, which again, like, I don't understand. What is the sand that he leaves behind? So he regenerates, and I like, time to pay, Marco, and then he bucks him off, and I think I love this next sequence because it's that he punches Spider-Man. You actually see Spider. I mean, this is such a weird camera angle to do it in, and you never see this type of stuff anymore. He punches Spider-Man in between the trains. Spider-Man like tumbles hard, gets up like very quickly, like your body like makes sense of the motion, like the way that they do it. It's so well choreographed. Where he gets knocked down, immediately comes up, and just takes a giant chunk out of his face. Like, perfect timing. He gets knocked down, rolls right back up, giant punch to his face, and then it cuts to the bar coming at you, which is very similar to like the train thing in the subway fight with Dr. Octopus, when Spider-Man like has to dodge the train. This one, like, the handle comes right at you, except this time it hits him, and it hits him hard. The other part I really liked was Peter at one point gets knocked off the railing, and then he catches himself and swings under and tries to like loop back over. And as he does that, he like pummels over the pipes like a gymnast. And it's like, yeah, where is that physicality? I miss that.
No, it's great. And then
it's
I even
definitely a
like
great
the way it ends. Where like Sandman falls in the water, and this is what I'm saying, that's sort of the dark side there, where Peter realizes this and basically assumes he's killing Sandman, like, by doing this. So like there it sort of gets dark, but like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't go enough that he's like totally evil.
Well, no, you're right. It is. I think it does go enough. I just think it's not set up properly. Because you don't you don't understand what Peter is. You don't understand that Peter's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't really like gotten there yet. And then is it right after the scene that he like looks in the mirror and
yeah, he like ruffles his hair.
Oh god.
Yeah, and he looks worse with the way he makes his hair. Like when he's evil Peter or like dark Peter.
It's just stupid. So this is where the movie might possibly cross into masterpiece territory.
What?
I know, seriously. I'm 100% serious. Because think about it. I mean, I'm gonna explain this, but I don't even know if I can. It might be too genius for me. But like, think about it. If your intention was to like sneak attack this like hilarious montage on, and I'm not talking about just the dancing, but the entire sequence where, like, from here to the third act, where he's like a douchebag, and it's just him, and you're like cringing at him, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And you want the audience to hate him, and you want it to like turn their stomachs. If that was your goal, the smartest way to do it would be to make an initial like first and a half acts where it feels like the first two movies. It sets up like the first two movies, and then suddenly it takes a quiet turn. And that's like where he does his hair, and you're like, what? And then it's like, what? And then he goes to the landlord. And he's like, you'll get your rent when you fix this damn doorbell. Or some shit like that. And it's like, whoa, what's going on? And the movie just keeps going and going.
But
And,
it doesn't. It takes a break. Peter takes the suit off and he goes and apologizes to the landlord. And he's not the bad guy anymore. And then later he becomes the bad guy again.
I think it's a slow burn. Think about it. There's actual clues. Like I was studying this hardcore. I'm like, what is he doing here? He as soon as he does the twist, it's like he's not quite there yet. Once he does the hair thing, he's not quite there yet. But it does come back, like you said. So then there's like the fight with him and Harry inside his house.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't mind that fight.
No, but it has funny music. It has like funny jazz music to it.
Yeah.
It can't be an accident. It can't be like, oh, he made a bad movie. No, that was intentional. Right? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't put that music on it. You think that sounds like a badass fight scene?
Weren't you the one who said that he like did not want to make this movie and was forced to?
No, he wanted to make the movie. He didn't want to make Venom in it.
Right, but the studio forced him to, right? So maybe he was just like, fuck it, you're gonna force me to make Venom. I'm gonna fuck around.
I think that is what happened, or at least portions of what happened.
Yeah, but I don't think he wanted to make a Spider-Man 4. So I don't think that he was. I don't buy that he tried to blow up the movie. I think he did what the only way that he could do it, which is like how it's the same tone. That's the thing. It's the same tone. I don't know. Let's just keep going. So he argues with the landlord, and then I guess this is where they find out. This is where they talk to the police commissioner, I think, and find out about the twist in Uncle Ben's death. MJ is kind of into
doesn't
Harry
he already
now.
know because he's
he
yelling
knew before he beat up
fight.
Sandman.
Oh, okay. So what twist comes here?
I think it was Mary Jane goes over to Harry's house, and they like emotionally cheat, and then he gets his
Harry
memories
remembers.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wrote the twist. No, yeah, the song that plays is the twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene, I don't know. I don't know because Sam Raimi's a good director. So you're telling me that he didn't know that was like terrible?
Yeah, I don't know.
As
That,
I
to
said,
have
I
known.
think it's possible he was like, you people want to fuck with me? Like, I'll fuck
He
with
had
you.
to have known.
you're going down with me.
But that's not even Venom though, because those are his characters that he set up. So he would essentially be sabotaging the good parts of his trilogy.
I guess that's true.
I don't see. By the way, if they ever said like, "Hey, we want you in this movie. This is the scene. I want you to like be cooking and pretending to have like the best time and just laugh a lot and start dancing," I couldn't do it. I'd be like, "Just fire me. I can't do this." Okay, and then they have the scene where like Harry, I guess he realizes what's going on, and then he like confesses to Peter like, "I'm the other guy."
Yeah.
And then he disappears behind the truck. What the hell was that?
Have you ever heard that joke saying he's really crawling around on the floor? Like he's definitely crawling around the floor because there's no way he could have gotten out of the scene that quickly. Not to mention the guy behind him looks down at the floor like in surprise, almost like he's just laying there.
So then they have the fight at his house where they're like trash talking. There's jazz music, and it's stupid.
Okay, it is stupid, but one of the scenes, I love how that fight ends. I love how smooth
With the
it is.
explosion?
Well, no. So you got Harry. He takes the bomb. He throws it. Peter just like without even looking, webs it back. Boom. Like I love that. Like just the nonchalantness of his counter, and he just takes him out and leaves.
Yeah. I was more focused on the dialogue, like, I protected you in high school, now I'm going to kick your little ass, and Tobey Maguire's just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's written like that intentionally. That's not bad writing. They did it like that. It's trying to play like a certain tone.
But at the same time,
the music is a giveaway. The music tells you it's not meant to be taken seriously. You would never put that music on that fight scene if you were like, two friends colliding, only one will walk away. Like, it's not like that at all. The tone is not like that at all. You can't even pretend that it is. It's a joke. The whole thing's a joke, isn't it?
It doesn't seem like it's taking itself very seriously at all.
And the very next scene is the dance montage.
Yeah.
At that point, the movie had turned me completely. I was like, you know what? This is a fucking masterpiece. Look what he's doing.
I think from that point all the way up until he goes into the jazz club, I had a smile like ear to ear on my face the entire time.
That dance scene is hilarious. Think about what they had
so
Tobey
cringy,
Maguire
though.
doing. Think about it. He's like,
So cringy.
I want to watch it right now. It might be the best part of the movie. I'm not kidding. Seriously, that whole sequence.
No, I know you're serious, but it's
I can't.
it's like
I
such a
can't-
weird form of
I can't
comedy.
endorse that.
Listen, the scene from the coffee shop to the fight to the dance montage all the way to the jazz club. That's a great stretch of the film. It's captivating. You can't look away.
That girl in his apartment, he's literally eating cookies.
Yeah,
while on the
and
phone.
he's like, who's he on the phone
Go
with?
make me-
J.
go
Jonah
make me some
Jameson?
more.
Yeah, he's like fucking.
No, he's on the
yeah.
phone with Dr. Connors while he's talking about the symbiote.
Yeah, he's like fucking around with him, like lying to him, purposely ignoring his questions, just trying to be cool, like the biggest douche. It doesn't make sense. Like I said before, it doesn't set up why would you be like that? It doesn't make any sense. This isn't like evil. This isn't Darkseid. This is like just mild douchebag. Like if he wasn't Spider-Man, you could just punch him in the face and that would be the end of it. Someone would tell him like, cut the shit. That would be it. He didn't hurt anybody, you know. But
It was kind of funny. Like Betty Brant thought it was hot, and J. Jonah Jameson comes in.
That's
Like,
a
that's
joke,
not the position
too.
I hired you for.
yeah. Anyway, the poor guy who plays Dr. Connors, like 3 movies.
Weren't they originally going to include the lizard?
I don't
at some
know.
point?
I mean,
Like,
it's
they have a
obviously
lot of clues.
You could say that they cast the guy, they CGI'd his arm. I think, you could say at some point they had the plan, but honestly, the lizard's not a great villain.
Yeah, and then they did it for the next one. It sucked.
So then then we cut to Sandman robbing more banks. Is that what's going on?
I think so.
This is after the jazz club.
So then we go to the jazz club. The jazz club is fucking great. I love it. I love
Everything
it.
he says and does.
Yeah, he's like, can I get some shade? And he like
Find us some shade.
yeah.
Thanks, hot legs.
You're telling me they didn't know that was stupid when they wrote it? You're telling me that they don't know that they wrote a hilarious scene?
I was smiling throughout that entire scene, but the one line that got me like to laugh out loud as hard as I could was, "Now dig on this," and he starts snapping into ejaculating.
That's a
his
style
hips.
of talking. I'm telling you, that's a style. It's not like, come on, you're telling me they wrote "Now dig on this" and didn't know what they were doing? The
you know
three of
what?
us could not
I
have written a
believe it.
funnier scene if our lives depended on it.
I believe it.
Like if we were trying to be funny. We could have never written a scene that funny. It's great.
I can't.
You exit reality,
And then
you're
he's
not watching a
suddenly on the
Spider-Man movie
piano,
anymore.
and she's like, "What, Peter? What the?"
You're not watching a superhero film anymore. You literally exit reality.
I know, and it's like, yeah, this is not like look how what they're trying to do is they're trying to shock the audience into like how far he's gone, not like as a character, but like how far he's departed from like who he was, and they snuck it up on you. I'm not sure it was the right way to go. I would have gone for the darker film, like the darker tone.
I mean, yeah, like other movies have done like the darker side to heroes like a bunch, but they do it in more like sinister ways. They're definitely not taking this seriously when they do that at all.
Yeah, and then when he hits MJ, do you notice the movie changes tones again completely? That's how you know it was intentional. It's like the moment he hits MJ, it pulls you back to reality in Peter's shoes, where it's like, what the hell have I become? And then there's no more of that stuff. Like that tone, no one's talking, hey, dig this. No one's saying that anymore. You see, like it was intentional.
Okay.
So then they go to the church tower, which I think is a good scene. I like the church tower.
It's a good scene. However, Eddie
It's
Brock
very
asking
faithful.
God to kill a man, like, I thought that was kind of weird.
I think it's over the top, but like I believe that Eddie Brock would do that. Like, because he was kind of a douche. Like, I like that he cheated, and also the thing about him getting fired for faking the picture. I feel like J. Jonah Jameson would have approved of him faking the picture to get the job. Like, he would have admired that type of moxie.
But they turn on him super fast.
I don't buy it. Isn't J. Jonah Jameson's entire thing that
Does
we
he hate
make up
Spider-Man?
news? But doesn't he make things up all the time?
Yeah, but direct forgery. Yeah, I guess you're right.
In Spider-Man 2, the opening scene, he's like, there's like a health scare, like bad food, and he's like, you have food poisoning? He's like, yeah, I feel a little sick. Like, he just made it up. He's trying to put it on the front page that there's like a food scare. So
Yeah.
like, he has a problem with the forged picture. I mean, I don't see that happening. I would also, why not have Peter get fired?
Yeah.
And then he could throw a big scene. He could even punch J. Jonah Jameson, and everyone would be like, Peter. Okay, why
Instead,
does
they kind of do that when he like destroys Brock.
You never really see
Yeah.
much of them after that anyway. After like he's
why
in his
does
douche mode.
why does what's his name have fangs?
Oh, Brock. Well, okay, it's not like fangs. It's like meth mouth. It's like really gross.
But he has fangs. Why?
Yeah, he has fangs. It's weird. I don't know.
Like, did Venom? That's why I'm saying the Venom thing just doesn't make any sense.
Well, here I actually want to talk about one specific, like the duality of this type of Venom. When it's Eddie Brock without the face, it is one of the most cringy acted roles ever. Like, it's awful to me.
It's
At
terrible.
least.
It's terrible. It's not
But
even
when
Topher Grace's fault. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not his fault, but it's awful. When he has the face on, however, I think it's great. His voice is a little modulated, so it sounds a little bit more sinister. The design is smaller than normal Venom, but it still looks comic accurate, and his face is absolutely terrifying. And I mentioned it earlier. When I first saw this movie, I started crying in the theater. Do you guys remember that scene? Like, it's a few scenes ahead of what we're talking about now, but that news, like they're reporting that Sandman and Venom have captured Mary Jane, and they're like killing all the cops and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like one part of it where Venom's like hunched over in like the corner of the screen, and they're like, some strange mysterious creature is assaulting the cops. We thought it was Spider-Man, but it's something entirely different. And it's like the shaky cam footage, and he's like, there's blood on the screen, and he's like killing everyone. That terrified me to my core. And that is why I love this version.
What? I don't remember the blood and the death. I
Yeah,
remember
There was no blood.
It was just
Yes,
him
there
like
was.
crawling around.
No, it's
Wasn't
him
it?
like jumping around on
a
Humvees.
cop's face. There is visible blood on his face as
I
Venom
didn't
is jumping
see it.
around.
I think you might be making too big a deal
I'm
about
not.
this. It was
Your-
an interesting scene, but it was like
Your imagination might have like played into that.
No, I'm talking about like little kid me in the theater watching that happen. Like
Yeah,
now,
that's what I'm
obviously,
saying.
it's not as bad. But
No,
little kid me thought that was terrifying.
I still think you're imagining it because it was just him like crawling around. Maybe he jumps at the camera or something, but that's it.
I
There
mean,
was no
here I'll
death.
try to find it and I'll send it to you.
There was no
There's
like people getting murdered.
There's
How old were
blood
you, by
on
the
the
way?
cop's face. Excuse me?
How old were you when you saw this? 2007.
I must have been like 6 or 7 or something, or like 8. I was very young.
I don't. Okay, I'm gonna try to find it. I mean, it's not gonna make for good podcasting, but
yeah,
Venom's-
as all three of us look it up.
I don't see. It's not even like. It's not even a good scene. I don't think you would ever see it on YouTube. Like, right? I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'll let Everett deal with it. Moving on. So I put in my notes like, how is Peter good again? It doesn't make any sense. Like, so he takes off the suit, but
And
What
he's
about-
just a good dude.
what about the guy that kissed Gwen Stacy? Like, and then there's the team up scene. That scene is just awful. So this is the part like This is where it became a draw for me because I was going to give it a win. And then this third act is really bad. It's really bad. Venom is just butchered. Even if you didn't want to do a Venom story, which by the way doesn't really make sense to me because Sam Raimi is a horror director, Venom would play really well into that.
Yeah.
So like if you're like I want to do Sandman and everyone's like do Venom, like literally everyone, even the fans are like do Venom. The studio, the fans. Why wouldn't you look at Venom and be like, Venom's pretty cool.
I could do something with him.
Like Sandman's not that cool. He would have to have a second villain no matter what. Because Sandman couldn't carry the movie by himself. Also, then they do the newsreel thing that Everett was talking about, and they're like,
Spider-Man is not here. No one will save us.
Yeah, it seems that all hope is lost. It's like,
what? Two random dudes have kidnapped one person in the middle of a city, and all hope is lost.
Also, like, why do you assume Spider-Man's not coming? He didn't disappear or
It's
anything.
real cringy when they all start like, oh my god, it's Spider-Man! And they're all like, yay! I was like,
No, and that was also something I put in the notes is the vibe of, like, New York people is completely gone.
Yes.
Like, they lost all of that. For some reason, they have, like, a British reporter.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
By the way, she, like, killed herself shortly after.
Jesus. I guess we shouldn't criticize her too hard.
Well,
she was fucking garbage.
Dude, she had an argument with her boyfriend, and then she hung herself.
Oh, God.
Like, in the apartment while he was sleeping.
What the? Jesus Christ.
And she left 2 notes, yeah. Like
2 notes?
She was pretty successful, also. Like, I mean, she wasn't, like, a big movie star, but I think she was, like, other things. I don't know.
What? Does it say what the argument's about?
No, I just briefly read upon it as I was, like, looking through, like,
because that
seems
like there's some mental health issue.
Well, obviously, but yeah.
All right, I found it and I sent it to you guys.
Okay.
I sent you 3 images: the newscast scene that freaked me out,
Images?
the close up of Venom, and the blood that I was talking about.
It's a guy
that
with
looks like
lipstick
he's
on.
got Play-Doh on his He kind of looks like the Joker.
And then, okay, masked accomplice.
That's the frame that freaked me out at first when I was little.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know if I count that as blood, Everett. When I assume blood, I assume something that like.
What do you mean you
looks
don't
like
count that as blood?
No, but I assume.
I don't even know why you brought it up.
Blood.
Like, what's the point? It's not even scary.
To me, it was.
When you were a kid.
Yeah, but what? I'm not allowed to share that.
I just don't think it's as impactful as you made it seem.
Well, it was impactful to me.
Like lots of fucking.
So
Venom is scarier than Lots of Hug and Bear to me, at the very least.
So-
This version.
then Venom tells Peter after he shows up, he's like, I'm going to humiliate you the way you humiliated me.
And then he just tries to kill him.
Yeah, it's like, all right, humiliation, that's
I'm gonna
your
pose your
thing.
corpse into
That's the theme
embarrassing,
here.
places.
Humiliation.
I really dislike that entire final fight.
And then the kids, awesome, wicked, cool.
Yeah, worst acting ever, which I don't blame them, but like
Clearly
shouldn't have kept it
someone's
in the
kids.
movie.
It's someone's kids,
Yeah.
I'm sure. And then Harry shows up. Now, I like when Harry shows up. And I like the two of them working together. I just don't think the arc prior to this really worked. But I do like when Harry, like, helps him.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, you're like, all right, so he's going to die. Because you're not going to have 2 superhero people. All right, so, and then it's just like, it's just, you know, MJ's in peril again. It's just, you know, it's all kind of boring. We've seen it before. I think in every single movie he's like, hold on, MJ. Like, that's every single movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like
Harry,
then-
yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say Harry's like fighting is okay, but then
He puts in good work against Sandman.
yeah, and then he impales himself.
Yeah. And it's like, when he does it, I don't
Gets
know.
impaled on a surfboard.
So,
Something about it is just funny.
so when I was like 10 or 11, we made our own movie called The Matrix.
I remember we've
Yeah,
seen
you
parts
told
of
us.
this actually.
You
You've
bought
seen
like leather
parts of my
jackets and
Matrix
stuff.
You showed me some parts of it, I think,
of
or
the
maybe you
Matrix?
just talked about
No,
it so
I don't
much.
think you've seen it because I don't
The
even have a
pool?
copy of it. Yeah, but you never saw footage of that.
I feel like I saw like a picture of you as a kid, or like I feel like I saw something.
I don't know, but so what happened was my friend Mozzie was in the movie, and we all had like our character names. His character name was Trigger. No, mine was Trigger. His name was Ghetto. His character's name was Ghetto, and so we had the scene, and like it was his only scene, and his mom came to pick him up, so like we had to rush it, and the fight was supposed to be like we had this choreographed fight between me. It was me, Ghetto, and two other agents. One who was like my older sister, who was recast in the middle of the movie because my little sister quit. and so they're like doing a choreographed fight. My sister was pretty cool to do that, by the way. She was like 30, 35 or something. And so she's in our movie. She's fighting in a suit, and Ghetto is supposed to jump in front of the bullets that are supposed to kill me. But because we only did it in one take, because my sister's like, I'm not doing multiple takes. What he ends up doing is, right before the gunshots, he kind of misses his mark. And then he kind of jumps in the way in like a kind of pardon me kind of way. And it's the funniest thing on screen. So when I watch this scene, it just reminds me of that. The way he's like, right at the last second, he's like, whoops, right, like right in front of the surfboard, and gets fucking murdered. And he kind of does it with like a smile on his face too.
Yeah.
I think that's the part, like, because like Mozzie was laughing when he did it, and like that's how I see it. So anyway, he sacrifices himself. It's like whatever. And to be honest, it came so fast. Like I like the redemption part, and then he's dead literally like 2 minutes later. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then they destroy the symbiote. I don't mind the whole sound thing. That's fine. Why does that one pumpkin grenade just disintegrates everything?
Yeah,
But
when
what
it
about
seems like
Harry?
most of the time they're just like trash.
Well, Harry's face, it kind of just like threw a little shrapnel at him. It doesn't even seem like it actually directly hit his face. It was like the pieces of the things that blew up hit his face.
Yeah,
And
to
you
add
even-
on to that,
Yeah.
I never noticed before that Eddie Brock gets completely vaporized. You see his skeleton appear for a second. Like, that's nuts. Like, they were never that powerful.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. And then you go to the funeral, Harry's funeral. Gwen Stacy's there. And then Flash is there.
Yeah, I saw I have that in my notes too. Flash Thompson is there.
Joe Manganiello reappears as Flash Thompson. One thing I never understood, like, why can't MJ just be an actress? Like, why does she have to be a singer?
Didn't we talk about this? How like if she was an actress, then if she was a movie star. Do you mean an actress on stage?
Well, no, she's like in Broadway, but we were saying, like, you can just be an actress. You don't have to be a singer too.
Yeah, they said she had an agent, so wouldn't
And
make
like,
too much.
if they're literally telling you like your singing is not good enough, but you're an actress, like you got roles, you obviously auditioned. I don't know. It just didn't seem so hopeless. So anyway, so she's a singer. She's singing at the end of this, and then Peter shows up, and it's like, hey, let's start back at square one. Like the third act falls apart. The third act is bad, which leads me to my final, like, things I want to say about this is, you know, when we talked about when we did like Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, like, is Joel Schumacher guilty? And I'm like, is Sam Raimi guilty? And I think that he is, for a couple of reasons. Number one, doing Harry as a villain, I think he did the right thing. So I would say he's innocent. But Venom, even if you didn't want to do Venom, you didn't have to do it that badly. Like, something is very wrong with what he did, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just bad. It's just genuinely bad. Even if you didn't want to do it, it didn't have to be that bad. It didn't have to be Topher Grace. He didn't have to have weird fangs. It didn't have to be stupid. in all the ways that it was. It just didn't have to be. So guilty. And then with Sandman, it's like only you wanted to do Sandman. And like, to be honest, he can't really carry a movie. That wasn't a great idea. So guilty for that too, I would say. Yeah. So like the movie is kind of a wash. It's a draw. It does have some great stuff. I kind of want to go back and watch the montage now, just because it was so funny. I was laughing. Jade was cringing, but she didn't get it. But I was laughing. But anyway, do you have a fight of the week?
I couldn't really think of a good one for this, to be quite honest, except for you are fighting the symbiote. But that also requires the symbiote to be trying to, like, play to you in a different way. Because, I don't know, Kia, for some reason it's difficult for me to imagine you, like, making your hair weird and dancing on the street.
Yeah.
The thing with these type of movies where there's so much going on and it's rapidly changing, like boom, 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 it's hard to come up with like an area where the fight would fit in a simple and like natural manner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So anything else on this film?
I think we're good.
Nope.
All right. Moving on to Roundup. I watched the Borat sequel.
How was that?
Oh, really?
Not good.
That's what I thought. Borat to me has always been funny as like you watch a little clip of something, you don't watch a whole movie.
I mean, I thought that the first one was pretty damn funny.
I never
I don't
saw
know
it.
how well it's aged. I think it has aged well. This one is just not as funny. It's also like people are defending it, saying it's less of a comedy and more, it's less of a satire and more of an expose. And it's like, yeah, you're right. So not as funny is what that means. Ultimately, it has to be funny before, as eye-opening as it is, like, you know. And then there's this whole Rudy Giuliani thing, which is it's pretty stupid. Like, have you guys seen?
I know what it was.
No. But
Did
can
you see the
explain
clip
it?
though?
Yeah, where he's like supposedly gonna sleep with the underage girl.
But did you watch the clip?
Oh no, I didn't watch the clip. I just read about it.
Okay, so they're saying that they caught him trying to have sex with a girl that he thought was 15. So basically in the scene, Borat's daughter is a 15-year-old posing as a reporter with Rudy Giuliani. And then they go into the back room. Borat hears about this, how she's going to try to seduce Rudy Giuliani. So then he rushes in like half naked for some reason and like tries to say, she's too old for you. She's only 15 or something like that. And Rudy Giuliani like had his hand down his pants. But here's what actually happened. So the actress is like 24. She's pretending to be 15. She's presenting as some type of reporter. It's unclear if he actually thinks she's 15 or not. Like, you don't see what he knows. So he's definitely being kind of flirty. Like, the girl's way too young and he's trying to be flirty. And he's like old as shit and it's gross. But he's not touching her or anything. And then Sacha Baron Cohen comes in as like a mic operator guy and is like trying to like make it awkward, like saying, is she bothering you? Is she asking dumb questions? Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. And he's like, no, she's fine. She's fine. Then for some reason the like interview ends and they go into the second room where there's a bed and she's like helping him take off the microphone and he is touching her, like not groping her, but he like puts his hand on her side and whatever. But again, she doesn't really look like a child. She is kind of small, but like he definitely thinks he's having sex, but like at worst you can accuse him of thinking this like reporter chick was gonna sleep with him, which is like, all right, why did you think that? But also like she's there like taking the mic off you.
Well, so you would assume a reporter is over age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd assume.
But she like, you know, the whole the context is like they're in the room, he's on the bed, she's like removing some of his clothing, not like sexually, but whatever. So the idiot like is being somewhat flirty. Then he laid down on his back and he claims that he put his hand into his pants to try to tuck his shirt back in after she took the mic off. And then that's what they're claiming they caught him with. My whole thing is they just saved that little stupid story for right before the movie release so that they could create hype around it, and that's all there is. I'm not a big fan of Rudy Giuliani, but like this whole thing's stupid. And that's kind of like the big moment in the movie. Everything else is, there was like one other funny part, and there was a couple small jokes here and there, but it's like overall, nothing as funny as like the Ali G show or the first Borat movie. So you can just skip it if you want. You guys have anything else for Roundup?
No,
yeah.
not this week.
I've been watching a show called The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. It's about a female chess player who's like trying to become a grandmaster. It's set in the 60s. I'm 5 episodes in. It's a mini series. There's 6 episodes. I'm enjoying it so far. The only problem I have with it is it sets itself up like, yeah, this is a true story. But then I looked it up, and it is not a true story. It is an amalgamation of several different women's grandmasters put into one story and like changed a little bit. So I like the show itself. It's interesting, and it's, well shot and well acted, I would say, but it kind of presents itself as like, yeah, this girl, like, she went up against all this and she accomplishes all this, when it wasn't one girl. It was multiple women over many years. So.
Okay, yeah, got it. All right. Gaming. Pokemon Go has announced their Halloween Cup, so that's been going on. I've been having a decent time with it. It's kind of interesting. It's like limited typings are allowed. So, kind of, yeah. All right. I didn't see any trailers. Did you guys?
No. Not this week.
All right. Everett's Game of Smartass.
All right. Pull that up. All right. It's Kia's turn to choose this week. What would you like to start with?
Who?
Person, place, or thing?
Person.
All right. You guys ready? Here we go.
Yep.
I am a human. I have appeared in multiple movies and television shows. I have lived through many dangerous battles. I was an accomplished pilot, although I was not very fond of flying. I was a general in a war. I became a spirit after my death. I served as a master of the Jedi Council.
Anakin Skywalker?
No.
Oh, fuck, I'm an idiot.
I have notably said, in my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
I'm an idiot.
I trained the man that would eventually become Darth Vader. My initials are OWK.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yep. Nice job, Emerson.
I'm going to be real. I had no idea who the fuck it was at first, because they're all kind of accomplished pilots, and they're all generals. So I was like, and then Kia took Anakin, and I was like, I'm just going to wait till the last clue reveals his name.
I said Anakin right when he said I was a master on the council, which obviously that's not Anakin.
Oh, yeah, but I totally forgot about that. I didn't
And also,
remember.
I thought Han Solo said the luck thing.
No, Obi-Wan Kenobi says, in my experience, there's no such thing as luck. I specifically made sure that he said that.
I would have got it wrong again. So, all right.
All right, what's next? Emerson, you choose. Place or thing? Place. All right, ready?
Yep.
I am a base of operations. I am located on a small island in the middle of a bay. I contain all the facilities needed for comfort living, such as a kitchen, living quarters, and a living room, as well as combat readiness, such as a gym, training center, and workshop. In the comics, I have been destroyed and rebuilt at least 3 times. I have made appearances in mainly animated movies and television shows. I am shaped like a letter of the alphabet. I was originally designed by Silas Stone, the father of Cyborg.
The T-Tower.
Yeah. Nice job, Emerson.
The what?
Jesus. It's the tower from Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, no idea.
I at first, I almost laughed whenever it said I'm a base of operations, because I was like, I feel like every week we have a question that's like, I was a base of operations.
I've had 2 questions where it's been that before, but one of them was the first
No,
week
I'm
where I
not
did the
criticizing you.
watch
I just think it's funny because there are a lot of places that are bases of operations.
Yeah, there's not a lot of places that are that specific that aren't bases.
I know.
Whatever. All right. Final one is thing. You guys ready?
Yep.
I am vastly expensive to create. My exact formula is a closely guarded secret of the U.S. military. I have extremely high durability. I am able to pierce almost anything depending on the force exerted. I have been used by various heroes and villains of the Marvel Universe.
Vibranium?
Nope.
Fuck.
I must be kept at an extremely high temperature. I most famously coat Wolverine's claws.
Oh, god damn it.
My name begins with the letter A.
Adamantium?
Yep. Nice job, Kia.
Nice.
And
I didn't know it until he said Wolverine.
I didn't
That's
either,
a-
but at first I was like, oh, maybe they make Vibranium, but that's Wakanda, so I don't know.
well, okay, vibranium is lesser than.
No, you're
Adamantium.
right, because you said the heat thing, and that should have been a big clue, but I didn't catch it.
Well, okay, since that's the last question of the week, do you want the extra question for double or nothing?
Oh,
Do it, Kia.
yeah.
Your points are too
You
high.
want it?
Well, wait, it's going to be an X-Men question?
It has to do with adamantium, is all I'll tell you.
Oh.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
All right.
All right, ready?
Nope.
What is the one item adamantium cannot penetrate? There's only one item in the entire Marvel universe that it
So
can't
you're talking
penetrate.
about an item, not a substance?
An item, not a substance.
Cap's shield?
Yep, nice.
Why?
That's correct. What?
But wouldn't that mean that it also couldn't penetrate Black Panther's suit?
The reasoning behind it is because Captain America's shield is made from a version of vibranium, but it's a mix of them. It's vibranium, some other material, and something called proto-adamantium, which has never been recreated. Like that's what makes it unique. It's the one
right.
thing that adamantium cannot pierce.
Listen,
There's like
just give me
5
the
different
points.
versions of adamantium. Yeah, okay, fine. So you both got 2 points this week. So our current scores are Emerson 24, Kia 33.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you don't have a 10-point lead yet.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to news. Not too much. A lot of small stuff, except one big news. Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight.
Yep, I heard
What?
about this.
Yeah.
Aw, that's okay.
So they were talking about Keanu Reeves, but I guess that's not happening.
I don't think Keanu Reeves can do Moon Knight. I don't know. I don't really see him as that.
I don't know. But my thing is, I have no faith in their ability to put up good shows right now. So this is... I just can't get excited about any of this. I need something good to come out before I care about the rest of these castings.
I would like Moon Knight. Like, if it was out right now, I would watch it. But I have no idea. I wouldn't be hyped for it. I'd need a trailer. I'd need, like...
I don't want to get my hopes up because it could just easily be 8 episodes of, like, garbage. Like, filler.
Yeah, like
He
Iron
gets
Fist.
3 seasons, and the end of every season, the current director's like, now he really is Moon Knight.
Well,
Actually,
I'm kind of wondering.
yeah.
Okay, so this is a television series on Disney Plus, right? Is that
Yeah.
what this is?
Mm-hmm.
How are they gonna do this without the X-Men? Because he works with the X-Men and Spider-Man a lot,
Oh, they don't
but
need,
all
they
of
can
his
just make him
equipment
his
is
own dude.
made of adamantium.
They don't
could do
have to
it.
say
They could
it's
do
made
it.
of that. They can just do whatever they want.
I was listening to a podcast called Cinematic Universe, which is one that kind of... They're, like, 3 years ahead of us. It kind of inspired this podcast, more or less. But recently I was listening to them, and they were talking about how they were a lot nicer than we were, but this is the only other podcast I've ever heard besides ours that acknowledges that a lot of these shows are just filler, and they have one little thing at the end of the episode, and even that has been sort of watered down because, like, instead of having the big moment at the end, it's more like a little, like, tiny cliffhanger instead, and that the shows in general have been in poor quality. And so that's kind of how I feel. Like, I just don't care. Oscar Isaac, great. Oscar Isaac with a good script, even better. But Oscar Isaac by himself in a bad show, it's just a bad show. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. Apparently No Time to Die has approached Netflix and maybe some other streamers, and it's been complicated. Here's the article. COVID has wrecked any hopes of major studio films being released in 2020, and No Time to Die is one of the biggest casualties. The first blockbuster to move in response to the pandemic, it was recently shifted from November to next April, creating another chain reaction of release date changes in Hollywood. Over the weekend, it was reported that MGM had considered a move to streaming for the next James Bond film, but Deadline has shared more details about why those talks ultimately stalled. Meetings were held with Netflix, Apple, and Amazon with the hope of exploring a possible streaming debut, with the studio shopping around a $600 million one-year contract. That would mean one of those services would have exclusive rights to the film for a 365-day period, giving MGM the option to then shop it around again while also exploring DVD, Blu-ray release options. Streamers weren't willing to pay that, however, with only half of the sum being offered. Damn! That's some hard
I
bargaining.
think that's smart from Netflix. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I do not think that movie is worth that amount.
It's not making 300. Not even 300. So, we're not paying. This is what they're thinking is like, they're thinking they're going to make like Marvel movie numbers, which they know that they're not. That's why it's 600 million instead of $1 billion. But right now they're thinking, all right, we would have made 700 million worldwide at the end of the day. Maybe that's true like months down the road after it's been released, maybe. But now they're like, well, we won't get that, but maybe we can still get close if one of these streamers pays us, and then the money will just be in our pocket for 1 year.
Screw that.
Yeah, no, because it's not worth that. We would watch it because we're going to review it, but I'll be honest, like, I don't care.
I wouldn't want to see it. If we weren't reviewing
really
it, I wouldn't see it.
Yeah, so it's not going to make. I don't see us paying $30. Like, I don't see a lot of people paying $30 to watch Daniel Craig run around and do the same shit on the small screen.
But what I will say is I like that idea because there are some movies that I would like to come out. Like if Tenet comes out, you can buy it. I'd do that. If Black Widow came out,
I want Black Widow
movie.
to come out on streaming.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is maybe hopefully other movies will start coming forward and making these offers, not just fucking No Time to Die.
The problem is, it doesn't make. It's really hard financially because, like, again, with Black Widow, you're gonna make $1 billion when movie theaters go back to normal, if they ever do. So, like, what number is enough? Not that they have to sell it because Disney can just do it, but like, I don't know. I guess that's not the best example. Then, yeah, Tenet would be a better one because you'd have to put it on HBO Max, but they might already have a deal with HBO. So really, MGM is like one of the few studios out there that's still like doesn't have a streaming service.
Yeah.
Good. I'm tired of this. Everybody gets a streaming service thing.
Well, what it needs to happen.
The way of the future.
They need to consolidate again, and I think the market is doing that because you've seen like. I was reading like Quibbly. I don't know if you guys have heard of that.
Oh, it got destroyed.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah. It doesn't exist.
Dude,
anymore.
have you seen? Apparently, Gal Gadot had approached the creators to like make a like she wanted to do something like with empowering young women, and one of the creators apparently out loud wondered if she was the next like workout fitness star and if she wanted to star in a workout series. Like, these people are out of touch. You need to look up, like, some articles on the things that the directors of Quibbly said. They are insane. They're morons.
So, anyway,
workout series.
The plan is now a theatrical release. Uncharted has begun filming.
Yeah, I saw that promotional picture with Tom Holland.
Yeah. And I didn't know Mark Wahlberg was playing Sully. Antonio Banderas is in it. And some other people I don't know. Mark Wahlberg is going to wear the mustache. Whatever. I'm not crazy about it. What else? Green Lantern producer Mark Guggenheim says the HBO Max TV series is being produced like a movie. Yeah, that's what they said about The Mandalorian. And that was definitely not a movie. Blade. Mahershala Ali reveals how he landed the role, his thoughts on Wesley Snipes. He says, So I did this Marvel show for Netflix called Luke Cage, right? Is that Emerson? Is your dog near you?
No,
Oh, one of you might be breathing in your mic.
it probably is me.
Um, so in doing that show, the day it premiered, I had turned to my agent and I had said, "What are they doing with Blade?" Because I kept hearing that they were trying to find a way to remake it and put it back together. And so that was my goal. Being able to participate in television in a very specific way had real meaning, but my larger goal was to be able to really navigate between film and television. And blah blah blah. A couple years went by. I definitely, and then talking about how Wesley Snipes inspired him, I definitely had a connection, at least in my mind, to Wesley Snipes going back to high school, where people used to joke and say we looked alike and all this stuff. It was really my participation in Luke Cage that sparked the idea, married with being so inspired by Wesley Snipes' work. I really wanted to be Blade and to tackle that, and it's darker. That's all in terms of tone. He's a little bit darker than some of the other ones. Was he clarifying like about skin color?
I don't
no
know.
Because like he like clarifies that he's talking about tone, not. That's probably what it is. Anyway, so it seems like he's excited. That's gonna be cool, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Deathstroke reshoots.
Sorry.
Sorry. Zack Snyder Justice League reshoots are confirming Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello is doing the reshoots.
Okay.
So that's something. Oh, and you guys heard, this is probably the bigger news, but for some reason I forgot to add it. Jared Leto is apparently in the reshoots.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a not so good. So, yeah. And then here's just one thing to wrap up. DC Animated Universe, 10 iconic comic book storylines Warner Brothers still needs to adapt. Thought we could go down this list for a bit.
All right.
The Sinestro Corps War, which is like basically Sinestro's evil army. It's not bad. Superman Birthright is considered the definitive origin story. I think I've read this. I think it's the one where he has cancer. Maybe not. No, that was All-Star Superman. Anyway, it's more like it's like a happier, like Boy Scouty type one.
Okay.
DC 1,000,000. Let's see. The basic premise of the crossover was that it set out to show readers what the DC universe would look like in the 853rd century. Superman was still alive while the solar system was being watched over by the Justice League Alpha, a team made up of future analogs of Wonder Woman, Hourman, Starman, Aquaman, The Flash, and Batman. That could be cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, I guess.
I mean, depends what it is, though. Like it sounds like it could have a lot of. There's a way for it to go wrong.
I think if Superman's the main character, that could be cool. Endgame is the one where like the Joker and Batman have their final confrontation.
Is that the one where his face is ripped off and like pasted back on?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right one. I don't know if that's a good one, but there's the Doomsday Clock one, which is where the world of DC and Watchmen combined. Superman battling Dr. Manhattan, blah, 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 that sort of thing. Batman versus Rorschach. Blackest Night. Blackest Night featured the return of Necron, a personified force of death who reanimated deceased superheroes and set out to eliminate all life and emotion from the universe. To help counter this threat, all the different Corps were forced to work together, and even Batman and the Flash were granted power rings.
Oh, I've heard about this. I don't think this is interesting. It's just everyone becomes a Green Lantern or a Blue Lantern
Well,
or a
they're fighting
Yellow
zombies and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I could see
don't
this
know.
happening in like a third Justice League movie. If
That's
if
like
they did it
scraping
right.
bottom of the barrel, though. Like they need to really be done with everything else.
Blackest Night is not the bottom of the barrel of the DC universe. The fourth, like Robin, like once you get to like his son, that's like the
But
bottom.
like Damien, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bottom. No, the Green Lantern that's inevitable. You're expanding the Green Lantern
No,
universe.
I'm okay with the Green Lantern Corps. I don't like the idea of, like, what I disliked about it was that everybody got a power ring, like literally everyone, and then they were like mix and matching power rings, and it just was weird. Like, oh, the Blue Lanterns are stronger, and the Red Lanterns.
Well,
like,
Dude, the Blue
and the
Lanterns
Black
are
Lanterns.
so useless.
well, what I mean, whatever. You expect it. That's like power creep. Eventually, like everyone's gonna have power, and I think they all get it taken away some stupid way, but whatever. Forever Evil. I remember this being kind of overrated. Earth 1 was invaded by the villainous members of the crime syndicate from Earth 3. The Justice League was left trapped, and evil doppelgangers of characters like Batman and Wonder Woman quickly took control of the planet. And then Lex Luthor decided to take action by assembling an Injustice League.
I remember I liked this storyline in the animated Justice League show, but it was simpler and just...
That's the one where they lobotomized Doomsday, right?
Yes.
This one is three Jokers. It's having Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood all come together to battle multiple versions of the Clown Prince of Crime. And the run is still going, so like they don't know how it ends yet. The Dark Side War. The Dark Side War revolves around two of the most deadly villains of the MC multiverse, the Dark God Darkseid and the Anti-God Anti-Monitor, as they take aim at each other with the Justice League. Who cares? And then number 1, Kingdom Come. Yeah, that could be a cool one.
Yeah, Kingdom Come is interesting.
Kingdom Come, blah, blah, blah. For those who don't know, it's set in the future that deals with a growing conflict between the visibly out-of-touch traditional superheroes and a growing population of largely immoral and dangerously irresponsible new vigilantes. While that's all taking place, Batman assembles a team in an attempt to contain the escalating disaster, foil the plans of Lex Luthor, and prevent a world-ending superhuman war. This is cool. Batman has that crazy suit, which I think is what Michael Keaton is supposedly going to wear in that movie, the Flash movie.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, so that was just something. For next week, do we want to continue with Amazing Spider-Man, or do you guys want to watch Venom? I'm not sure which would make more sense.
I think I'd like to do Amazing Spider-Man first.
Yeah.
Because I want to get those two movies out of the way because I don't really remember much about them. And then I think it'd be interesting to have Venom between that and Tom Holland, because then we can sort of discuss, will that Venom appear alongside Tom Holland? Do we think it's a good idea? And then contrast it back to this Venom with a little bit of time.
All right. So that's it. I'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Iron Coop Fights Movies. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, review our podcast on iTunes so that we can spread the show around. To contact the show, you can reach us at theironcoob@gmail.com and on Instagram at theironcoob. Join us for another edition of the Iron Coop Fights Movies.